Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We'll jump into the queue here and see what's on TV. There was a second game just moments ago, so that must have just ended. Who was playing in that? It was Capulet Killer and... someone. Flabbergazda, right? Flabbergazda was playing Capulet Killer, I think. Alright, so Flabbergazda hasn't been matched, but Capulet has? Maybe we'll get Flabbergazda. Alright, well, I guess in the meantime, let's just watch this game. It just started. It's between two, I suppose, pretty reasonable players. Base plus 11, good lord. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to play this very much. There's just too much stuff. I can't... It's like chunking, right? You can only fit so many things in your head at once. It's sort of the idea there, and like... Up to 9, I do pretty okay. When it gets to be 10 and 11, I'm like, by the time I get to the bottom of the set, I've forgotten what was at the top. I don't know. And like, that's just... For thinking about, being able to think about all of the things at once, let alone like the more of them there are, the more difficult the thinking is, because the more complicated the decisions are. Anyway, I don't know, like kind of highish econ thing here into Windsor's a good first attacker? Maybe they're getting Zamora? I don't know if I can agree with third NG into Zamora though. No savior. I don't know. With both players committing to so much econ, couldn't you get away with a savior? What exactly is your opponent doing to kill you? Build plasma fires? Sure, but... Alright, we have skits. Base plus 5, 60 seconds. I see wild drones, which is, like, pretty good. And Blood Rager, which you can combine with Wild Drone to like get a pretty good value Blood Rager even when you have like 6 attack, right? What am I doing? Wild Drone is this button. There we go. Give me a little good luck. I don't know, like the best attackers in the set is Blood Rager, and you should therefore get it, but there's not going to be a lot of economy. I mean, I think a turn 3 Animus should be fine. I could go for turn 2 with DA. Whew. Or actually 1A, I guess, would be better. That's a bit spicy, though, leaving me with like 8 income. Call it 9, I guess. Yeah, that's probably... Well, the thing is, if I don't do that... Doesn't my opponent have like a pretty good red line? Maybe my red line is the better one and I should stop worrying about that. I don't know, I think like... If there weren't Wild Drone in this set, what would I be doing? I'd be going, as player 2, I'd be going Fastimus, right? And Wild Drone sort of lets player 1 make player 2 openings and vice versa a little bit. So let's suppose I did this. I can go TT1. And I'm basically on 9 drones. Soon to be like 7 when the wild drones die off, but I get the first Animus, right? If I let my opponent go like DA, or actually they're gonna go 1A here, right? Oh, 2A, good lord. Yeah, that's horrifying. I think if I let them go 2A, they're just gonna win. Right. They're playing basically the player 1 natural Animus, but a turn faster, which seems outrageously good here. So I think I have to try something different. And this seems fine. Just undercut and do basically the same thing. I don't know, it might lose, but if you only choose openings that will always win, your opponent will outrace you, so... we shall see. The problem is, I'm not gonna have much access to shredders. By the way, this should be an Arc Impulse, not a drone. There's not much reason to build another drone here. I kind of have to build the Rhino here. I don't love it, but 3 damage is really important, both for Blood Rager and for Wild Drone. And I don't actually know what I'm going to do. Like, do I kill the Wild, or do I Blood Rager? Or neither? Attack into the Rhino? That doesn't seem very good. I think I kill the Wild and then try to do 6 damage next turn. Is that even possible? Not really. If I Blood Rager, it sort of is. I could do 6 damage, right? Kill all of their Wilds, hold back my Rhino for defense. And I'm not really sure. I don't really want to have 5 damage next turn, I guess, right? Which is what I would have if I attacked the Wild and build Rhino Tarsier. Let's just look at that again. I mean, I could have 6 this way, but that's not great. Is it? I could attack with everything, build another Rhino and a Rager here. No, I'll only actually have 10 bucks. This is probably not so great. Help, I got lost. There we go. I don't deny them anything really important by killing that Wild, I don't think. So, let's not. Ooh. They're overteching and not getting a Blood Rager? Wow. This is like... I knew that building the Rager would put them under a bit more pressure, but I didn't realize it would be quite this bad. The fact that they can't do the thing they apparently want to do makes me very happy. And I actually should consider just, like, building more attackers, not killing any Wilds. Just go into those Rhinos and kill them. Yeah, that's actually, like, pretty good, I think. If they do this, I'm gonna click everything and build and press RT. Ooh, I can't, that doesn't defend. Maybe I hold back 1 Rhino and build RT? This guy, right, holding back a charge on a 1 stamina Rhino is, like, not the end of the world. Okay, well, wow. Definitely not killing Wilds into this, obviously, or building Blood Rager. They would be threatening 6 damage. It's pretty rough. I would have to, like, build a Rhino and hold a bunch of drones myself into this, but I think I could manage it. Yeah, hold 3 drones, build a Rhino. Okay. Should be exciting. 4 drones? I miscounted their attack somehow. Yeah. I thought they would only have 6, but clearly they have 7. This kind of seems like the only play, to be honest. Does it win? I kill all this stuff. I don't know, it seems like it probably doesn't win. But I can't really math it out very well. They'll lose all this. Say they can manage to attack with everything, although I don't think they can. And then I'll be threatening 7 again next turn. Against which they could, I think, build Rhino and hold 4 drones. But that's not enough because they'll be out NGs as well. Okay, I think I'm gonna try this. I don't know. I don't have the math down, but it seems good. Right now, like, what exactly is my advantage? My advantage is just time, right? In terms of actual permanent attack, it's a tie. In terms of drones, I'm losing. My advantage is that I was the first one to make a big attack. And as a result, if they try to mirror, I'm threatening the Blood Rager. Or at least a Tarsier. And so they have to hold back some attack. But, and I guess I also have this Rhino, like that's a big deal. This soak is an advantage that I have. I think I'll take a breach if you offer it to me. Like I haven't mathed it out, but it seems like it's going to be pretty good to turn off the threat of these 2 rhinos. Okay, let's see how that works. Can I survive? No. They get a breach for 1, but even so, I'm attacking for 5 and I get through for a bunch. Oh, this is a breach for 2. This is probably better then, right? What if, yeah, if I hold an attacker here, I'm like not killing these rhinos, or not killing one of them at least, so that doesn't seem very good. I mean, I guess we can look at it, like what if I do this? No. Right? What if I did this? Now they can't build any rhinos next turn? That doesn't seem very good. Okay, just checking. And this way, they lose 1 attack. They only have a breach for exact if I do this, actually. And that's if they click everything. Then they can, what, build a rhino, hold 3 drones. That's 5 health. I think I should kill their stuff. I'm really worried about these wild drones. They seem to be... They give my opponent the chance to build another rhino here, which of course is a big deal. I think you do have to click it and kill my Tarsier, but maybe he calculated and saw that that loses? Because letting me like attack for everything is kind of, I don't know. If you just hold back your attackers, I breach anyway, and then I'm happy with that. I don't know. I again haven't really thought out the details, but boy, what a game! Wild drones and Blood Ragers, an exciting combination of units to play with. So we get to do this. Oh, and then I defend. Defend. What if I instead click the rhino? Then I don't absorb. This not absorbing is fine, right? The opponent will kill 3 health worth of stuff this way. If I hold back, they also kill 3 health worth of stuff. So it's just I'm absorbing some of their damage. Okay, cool. Well, wow, what a game. These red mirrors, especially with wild drones, are like extremely sharp. And I feel smart when I come out ahead of them. So I think you can sort of see what I mean about undercutting my opponent, right? This felt extremely dicey. The whole time I was on the brink of disaster. But my opponent was under a lot of pressure as well. And suppose that I had done something a little more natural and not gotten this turn to Animus. I think that the line my opponent took would have been way too good if they'd been left alone to do it without me building any attackers yet, right? Like, let's say I do, I don't know, do I build a conduit here? Unclear. Like, it kind of sucks to do that. Maybe you could try to build Gauss cannons and wild drones and be sort of breach-proofish. Gauss cannons, shredders, and wild drones. I mean, it could actually be playable. Well, you know, let's try it. Opponent gets 2A, as they did. I can do this. Yeah, this actually might not be so bad. Maybe... I was imagining, like, okay, if I go with some kind of red line, which seems obvious because of Blood Rager, then a slower red line, then my opponent will be way ahead. And I think that is probably true. But I don't have to do that, right? I can go for blue and green. And there's nothing green in the set, but actually, like, green is sort of fine because it works well with all this frontline stuff. So say opponent, like, does this to prepare either to kill a wild drone or to threaten to breach my wall. You can then, of course, build a Tarsier, and I don't know, let's build another wild. Why not? The attack does nothing, so we don't build it. And we get down enough attack to start killing wilds. I'm not building a wall because they're not going to give me value for it anyway. I don't know. This might actually be just fine. Might even, in fact, be better than what I did. Like, right? Opponent is under some pressure from the shredders already, and like, they kind of have to do this to avoid the breach, which does not feel good at all. Let's make this a drone, actually. You're not going to have energy necessarily next turn. Although, I don't know. If you're holding back a drone, you probably should be building engineers anyway, right? And I'm not absorbing, but like, that's life. I sort of committed to that plan. Hold this back, I guess, is a bit nice, because then the opponent... no, I'll just click it. Yeah, we're just gonna not defend the drones anymore. If you want to kill them, go ahead. And I already have enough tech, so I'm just gonna float these 10 bucks. It feels pretty stupid. Maybe I'll build some engineers. I don't know. I don't need to get super deep into this. Like, the point is that it's actually kind of more viable than I thought it would be. It seems playable. I'm losing my drones, but my opponent's under a lot of pressure, and they're losing their drones. And I have this way better breach-proof endgame. I don't know exactly what I'm doing with the rest of my money this turn. Let's just build all engineers. I don't know. And, you know, this seems like an okay play for them, but they might be under a lot of you know, they might have some trouble defending. No, they can build a Rhino, it's fine. So they probably do this, right? And Tarsier, NG. Yeah, they have a lot more attack, I guess. But I'm breach-proof? I don't know. Probably should keep building Rhinos. The soak is going to be useful. And now that I'm totally breach-proof... Hang on, did I build engineers last turn? I did. This should not have been an envy. Float it for another Gauss cannon. Or, I mean, a Shredder? I don't know. I guess a Shredder is just a worse Gauss cannon at this point, right? Yeah, they can just kill all my stuff. They're gonna be just fine in this line, I think. I'm just not attacking for enough. I don't know. They should absolutely kill a Wild here. Yeah. And I'm just not doing anything anymore. They get to empty the Tarsiers. Okay, this is not viable at all. This Wild Drone Shredder Gauss Cannon thing. I don't know, maybe a better player could figure it out, but to me, doesn't seem like it's going to work very well against Tarsiers. They're just building much better attackers than we are. So, all this is sort of a digression. My point was that if I do something slower and red, let's say float the gold for a turn 3 Animus, I'm just like way behind an approach like this from my opponent, I think. And so that's why I went for the undercut, right? I've talked about this before, like Elliot wrote this, not exactly paper, an article, I guess you could say, wherein he discovered what we now call the Elliot Animus, the turn 2 Animus by player 1, which looks laughably bad, but you can sort of show that it can be useful by noting that the goodness of building attackers goes up as the game progresses, and being the first one to build attackers is good if the goodness of attackers is high enough. And so if your opponent has a line that is really, really like good, where they build the first attacker on, say, turn, or here they build the first tech on turn 2, if that is like super, super winning for them, then you can say, well, you know, I could build some slightly worse first attacker by going before them, and it's not great, but it's better than giving them this really good line. Here, you know, my Animus, is it 50% to win? Oh, hang on, let's look at my real line. Is this 50% to win? I don't know. Honestly, it feels worse than that to me. It feels like this is below 50% of winning, but I feel like if I had not done this, my opponent's 2A would be like 80% chance to win. Right? They're quite a bit ahead if I let them do that. So that was what made me try this more aggressive play, even though there's not any of the usual suspects that make you go for a red, an Elliot Animus, you know, Immolites, Perforators, and so on, botches. The fact that Wild Drone and Blood Rager like both mean that getting attack right away is really valuable. So that's why I went for this. You know, was it good? Unclear. It did win. Right, this should have been an Auric Impulse, of course. They went ahead and did that next turn, but they could be in a better situation if they had 2 Aurics instead of an Auric and a drone. I guess it's not better, because I could like then attack the engineers, forcing them to actually cash in both Aurics, and maybe they don't want to sell the drones because they can't spend all that money in one turn. Yeah, maybe this was fine, but it could have been like 1 Auric and then Auric drone instead of drone and then Auric. Slightly more flexible. This was a big decision point for this game as well, right? Turns 2 and 5, I think, were the most crucial decisions I made this game. Definitely some of the later stuff was like difficult. It felt they were largely not difficult decisions to make, they just felt bad. It was like, well, I'm doing a thing, and it seems like the thing I have to do, but I don't like it. Here, on turn 2, I had a choice. Turns 3 and 4, my play was largely, like mandatory. Sorry, turns, yeah, 3 and 4. And then on turn 5, I had a choice again. If we weren't in analysis mode, we could see how long I spent on those turns. So let's go jump into the regular old replay again real quick here. Yeah, turn 2, turn 5 are when I spent a ton of time. You know, 6 I also spent, and like 7 I spent a bunch of time as well. But this, you know, was sort of just like, you can see I didn't really do anything on 6. I don't remember what I was talking about, trying to math out like what his turn would be and whether I would survive it. But I didn't really have any alternative lines besides, I didn't really do anything with this time. Anyway, so turn 6, turn 5, very important decisions. Whether to build the Rager or to kill the Wild Drone. And I settled on Rager. I feel like in these games where a player has like red and wilds, it's usually not correct to kill the wilds, has been my like experience. If they just have red, then attacking their defenders is putting them under so much pressure that they'll wish they could cash in their wild for a couple of health. And by killing their wilds, you permit them to do that. Even though it's only like 2 health, because I would only be killing 2 Engies if let's say I didn't build the Raider. Raider wasn't in the set here. It might still be correct to not kill the wild, right? Just kill 2 engineers instead of a wild drone. It feels awful to let them get, you know, quote, value, but by killing the wild drone, you take a lot of pressure off, and they can just continue doing what they want to do, which is like building attackers. By pressuring their defense, you make them do something they're bad at. Blood Rager's sort of... On the one hand, it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off, of course, because you're not killing the 2 Engies. But you are adding more attack. Right, you're leaving 2 Engies alive, but you're building 2 attack. And so that sort of cancels out, and it's like, well, on the turn after that, they have some trouble. Provided that, like, the turn after that matters. And, you know, the game was over in just a couple turns after this, but the attack that I had on those turns really was quite important. Anyway, and the fact that they, like, want to click this Rhino means that the fact that I'm attacking for 7, they, like, almost have to build actually 7 defense, right? They have an engineer lying around, but they have to just build a bunch of Rhinos. And I was really pleased that they wanted to build this Blast Forge but couldn't. They could have if they'd done this, but I think this is just losing. They have 4 attack and I have 7. I would just absolutely go in and murder the rhinos and keep hammering on their door. Oh, plus they don't get to kill my wild this way, which is pretty cool. So I didn't like think through the details of all of this. It just felt better to build a Rager and be threatening a ton of attack than to deny them a little bit of econ. They evidently agreed, built the Rager, and we're both suddenly leaving back a bunch of drones. So this was interesting, actually. I wanted to look at they had thought of, like, I don't know, what else could they do this turn? Maybe this wasn't the turn that they spent a bunch of time thinking. Maybe they did, actually. How much to attack with? Yeah. Getting breached, but they can't afford to click their Rhino to actually breach me for a Tarsier is, like, great news. Yeah, let's confirm that I was right, by the way, about the fact that it's strictly correct to click this Rhino. Because, like, suppose I don't click the Rhino. I reach them for 1, and it's like this. They attack for 4, I absorb 1. What do I have left alive at the end of all this? A 1 stamina Rhino. If I do this instead, what I have alive is a 0 stamina Rhino. So they've killed the same 3 health worth of stuff. My NG and my 0 stamina Rhino. But I've taken some permanent attack off of the board, and I've gotten to cash in this Rhino for attack so that he can more comfortably defend next turn. And then I'm just, like, mega winning from here. Is why they resigned. But let's just, like, they have some wilds. Maybe they could win somehow, but, like, no. This is the most defense they can produce, and it's clearly not enough. They lose everything. And eventually I'll get around to cleaning up the wilds. Maybe should. Oh yeah, I like this engineer because you can start droning. Anyway, and then we get them. So there you go. Cool. Well, it's always fun to play those little wild drone aggro mirrors. I was surprised to see, like, how my opinion of the green-blue line changed as I explored it further. Because at first it seemed like it might actually be kind of okay. Although, of course, during the game, I didn't even consider it. And then when I thought of it during analysis mode, it seemed like, hey, that might be playable. And then it seemed to be going pretty well as I was going breach-proof and they were having trouble defending. And then suddenly, like, they were just killing all my frontline stuff and it felt awful and I died. So, I don't know. Okay. Well, glad to get a win in there. And that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.